Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned. Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the Learn Live channel and to today's final Winsford Wellbeing 2021 broadcast in partnership with Higher Horizons. This Winsford Wellbeing broadcast was a 5-week-long programme all about looking after your mental health and wellbeing to kickstart your new year. The Higher Horizons team want to provide you with the tools and techniques to help you to combat stress, anxiety and low mood, and to encourage your motivation and drive for the rest of the academic year. The past 4 Mondays, there have been sessions available from world champion skater Jenna Downing, as well as sessions from Higher Horizons Plus and the University of Chester staff. In this final broadcast, we'll be hearing from Jenna Downing and Chloe Percival. Jenna will be covering how you can increase your motivation and building up your resilience in life and a working setting. We will then hand over to Chloe as she will give us some useful hints and tips on how to effectively set the goals you wish to achieve. If you have a question for Jenna or Chloe, please leave them in the live chat, which is situated next to the video player. Once you leave your questions, Jenna and the team will get back to you as soon as possible. And if you want to find out more about events such as this, please click on the subscribe button just above and you can get the up-to-date information that you need. I'm now going to hand over to Chloe from Higher Horizons as she introduces the rest of this Winsford Wellbeing 2021 broadcast. Over to you, Chloe.
Hi everyone, it is the last last week of this Wellbeing programme. Congratulations for making it so far. I know you'll all be counting down the days till half term, I'm sure, but before then, Jenna's going to talk to you about keeping up that motivation, and after that, you'll have a video from me about goal setting for a positive future. Talk to us in the chat box on the left today, and one lucky winner of each session will receive an Amazon voucher for engaging with us.
Hi everyone, it's Jenna, and welcome to this virtual wellbeing series. Today's session is all about increasing motivation and building resilience. Two really important traits which can support us through challenging times and lead us on the road to success. I know that I certainly would not have become a world champion without either of them. But where do we find that motivation? Where does it come from? And how exactly can we build our resilience? When I started skating, I never did it because I wanted to become a world champion. I did it because I loved it, because of how it made me feel. It made me feel happy, at my most confident. And every time I learnt a new skill or learnt a new trick, it gave me a real sense of pride. I had learnt that trick myself. Nobody else had done it for me. And these positive feelings are what motivated me to keep pushing myself and keep progressing. I started to set myself small targets of tricks I wanted to learn. And having these targets in place helped to give me focus and motivation. Even if I would fall when learning that trick, I would pick myself back up and keep trying, knowing how happy I would feel once I had finally landed that trick. As I practiced and started to achieve these goals, I noticed I was getting more confident. So I started to set bigger goals. One of my goals was to enter a competition. Once I'd achieved that, I started to set myself even bigger goals. To become a professional skater, to become a British champion, to become a twice British champion, a European champion, and then finally a world champion. But it took me 13 years to get there. Was it easy? Absolutely not. I had to overcome lots of tough times, setbacks, challenges. I had to be resilient. I had to use my skills and strengths to bounce back through those difficult times. But I truly believe that anything worth having in life does not come easy. And it takes hard work, motivation, resilience, the ability to keep going and not give up when times get tough. And it's during these tough times when we need to be more motivated than ever. Stick to our goals and not let those failures or challenges get in the way of where we want to be. So how did I stay motivated? And how did I not let those setbacks or adverse life events get in the way of me achieving my goals? Here are some of my top tips to help build your resilience and increase your motivation. My first top tip is to find a hobby or passion that puts you in a good mood and makes you feel happy. Is there anything that you love doing? What makes you feel at your happiest? In positive psychology, there is a concept called flow, and this is when you are completely immersed in an activity. Higher levels of well-being are associated with higher levels of engagement. So when you are completely immersed in an activity that you enjoy doing, that's when you're going to feel at your best. Is there anything that you're so passionate about that you could do for hours on end, eager to learn more about or improve in? As I said, for me I started skating because of how it made me feel, that sense of freedom it gave me. And I still skate now for those very same reasons. That's when I'm at my happiest and most confident. By taking part in activities we enjoy doing each day, it will quieten our inner chatter, lift our mood, help us to feel good, and improve our motivation, knowing that each day we have something to look forward to. So I would like you to write down 5 activities that you enjoy doing or are good at. And then next to each thing, I would like you to write down why. Why do you enjoy doing it? Or why are you good at it? What is it about this activity that fills you with happiness? And then reflect. Are you spending enough time doing these activities? If not, how can we increase this in our life? My next top tip is to have an optimistic outlook. It's a lot easier to focus on the negatives in life rather than the positives. But if we can have a glass half full mentality and see the positives in life, then we're going to feel more positive. The year after I won the World Championships, I was right at the top of my career, skating at my very best. And I remember competing in an event in Liverpool. And I was right in the middle of my run. I was about to do a backflip out of one ramp and land in another. And going up to this backflip, I was filled with nerves, filled with anxiety, and I was going too fast. And when I did this backflip, I went too high, overspan, landed on my knee while it was twisted, and I snapped my cruciate ligament, my meniscus, and a lot of the cartilage in my left knee. I had to have reconstructive surgery, which meant I was off my skates for a full year. And I remember really struggling at this time in my life. I'd skated my whole life. It was one thing I was so passionate about, and all of a sudden it had been taken away from me. I was really, really down in the dumps. I didn't know what to do. I lost my sense of purpose. And I spent several months just lost. And it was during this time when I began to realise the importance of mindset. Could I change what had just happened to me? No. Was worrying or stressing about it going to make me feel any better? No. In sport, we have a term called control the controllables. Worry about things that are in your control, and if it isn't in your control, then let it go. I knew I had to do something about my situation. So I decided to use this time off my skates to build my speaking story, develop my mentoring skills, my presentation skills, and I started to get into the line of work that I'm involved with now. Looking back, I'm actually so happy that that injury took place, because it's turned into the fantastic career that I've got now. So what's the message there? Well, if we perceive a negative situation to be negative, then it's going to be just that. By viewing a failure as a failure, then that's exactly what it will be. Can we reframe those tough times as a learning experience? A chance for us to learn a new skill, become a better person, grow and develop, try something new? Can we view that negative situation as a positive and have an optimistic outlook? If so, you will attract more positivity into your life. Remember, you can't change the fact that highly stressful events happen in life. We have no control over that. But you do have control in how you respond to these situations. Look for ways to adapt to the changes, to practice to be patient, and think about what you can learn from the experience instead. Now think of a mistake that you may have made in the past. Maybe a failure you experienced. What did you learn about yourself as a result of this? My third top tip is to embrace challenge and failure. Challenge can make us stronger, it can make us more resilient, but only if we choose to adopt the right mindset. For me, growing up in a male-dominated sport, I was often laughed at for being a girl, told that this was a boys' sport and it wasn't for girls like me. And sometimes in competitions, the judges would even refuse to watch me skate and show me no recognition because I was a girl, often placed me at the bottom of the pack. Even when trying to turn professional, I was told I was too young or too small. It was easy to think that there was always something or someone trying to hold me back from achieving my goals. And it would have been really easy to give up during these challenging times. However, I truly believe that these tough times in life are there to teach us a lesson. And if we let them, and that is key, they can help us to become more mentally tougher, more creative, and more successful if we're willing to adapt and learn from these challenges. Every time somebody laughed at me for being a girl, or put me down, or told me I wasn't good enough, all it did was develop this fire in my belly, this burning motivation to go away and work so hard to prove them wrong, to show people that I can do this. No one is going to put any limits on my capabilities. And this resilient mindset that I adopted, I didn't just use in sport, I've tried to use it every single day in my life, in my job, in my personal life, to help me be the best I can be. So don't forget, with adversity comes opportunity. and a chance for us to grow, develop and learn and become a better person. These tough times can present chances for us to learn new skills or uncover unrealised strengths we never knew we had. We can then use these skills in other areas of life when things settle down. Think of a challenging situation that you have faced in life. What positives did you take away from this? Try and think of 3. My next tip is to have goals and to visualise your goals. There are many benefits to goal setting that anyone can attain if done correctly. Goals provide direction, help to clarify what is important to us, improve focus, and are a powerful motivator by giving us something to hope for and aspire towards. However, it's important that our goals are clear and measurable, and we have a specific action plan to help us to achieve each goal. To help us with this, using an effective goal setting strategy such as SMART will increase our chances of success and provide feedback on your progress. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time-bound. Is your goal specific enough? Do you know exactly what it is that you want to achieve? Is it measurable? How will you know once you've achieved that goal? What will the outcome look like? Is it achievable for you, given your circumstances? And with that, is it realistic? Do you think at some point in the future it is something that you could go on to achieve? And finally, is it time-bound? By which point do you want to achieve that goal by? This will help you to keep on track and improve your focus. Turn to your workbook and set yourself a goal. This might be a short-term goal, such as helping your parents or carers around the house more. Or it might be more of a long-term goal, such as going to university. This is your goal, so make sure it's personal to you. Pop your goal in the top right-hand corner of your worksheet. You will then see 4 speech bubbles that lead up to your goal. These represent the steps that you need to take to achieve that goal. So starting from today, what is it exactly that you need to do to help you get to that goal? Underneath these steps, I want you to think of the challenges you might face, the barriers. These are represented by hurdles. What are the tough times you might encounter, the things that you need to overcome to help you get towards that goal? Have a think and spend a few moments writing this down. Ensure that your goal and each step on your action plan is SMART. Now stick this goal setting sheet up on your bedroom wall or even your bathroom door. It's important that we look at our goals daily. The more we can visualise our goals and see them in our mind's eye, the more likely they are to become a reality. By visualising our goals, this will increase our motivation and help to give us confidence and focus. I've got a short activity for you now to show you how powerful visualisation can be.
Stand in a fixed position. Lift your right arm and point your index finger. Twist around to your right as far around as you can go. Notice where you reach and what you are pointing at. Next, with your feet remaining in the same spot, close your eyes and imagine yourself twisting 2 centimeters further. Next, imagine yourself twisting 10 centimeters further. And what about 30 centimeters? Can you visualize yourself twisting a whole 30 centimeters, a whole ruler's width further, seeing it in your mind's eye? Once you've managed to see this, open your eyes. Repeat the activity, twisting around to your right.
Did you go further? I know I did. It's amazing. Why do you think this was? Our mind expected it because we visualised it first. Mental preparation through visualisation follows the same neural connections in our brain as those that are activated when we physically do that same thing. So by mentally creating and rehearsing a positive mental experience,
It enhances our ability to achieve a successful outcome in real life. Now remember, these goals can evolve and change day to day, but are a great visual representation of the specific things you are working towards. If you like, try creating a vision board and hang it on your bedroom wall. Cut out and compile different pictures from magazines of the different goals you're working towards. Tick off every time you manage to achieve something on your vision board. And don't forget to look at it daily. Having a visual representation of your progress and achievements is a great daily motivator. Also, to motivate you even more, you may want to commit publicly by sharing your goals with friends and family, or even on social media. Not only will this create a support system, it will help you to feel more accountable for achieving your goals. So after this session finishes, feel free to take a photo of your goal and post it on Snapchat, Instagram, or any other social media platform that you use, and let your friends and followers know what you're up to. My next tip is to take care of yourselves. In my other videos I discuss the importance of self-kindness and self-compassion, and how by making positive choices we can improve how we feel. Every time you think negatively, can you stop yourself and turn those negative thoughts into positive ones? Can we take time out of our days to be grateful, to think about the things that we appreciate in life, even the small things? Can we take part in activities and things that are making us feel good? Are we exercising, eating healthily, drinking enough water and getting adequate sleep? All these things will improve your mood, so ensure you're paying attention to your own needs and feelings and make healthier choices if you notice your mood is low. I know that if I'm not feeling great, I need to get out and exercise. Those negative feelings inside for me will just build and build and build, and they've got to come out somehow. And exercise is a great way for getting rid of those stresses, those worries, those anxious feelings, and because of the endorphins that you experience too, it will leave you feeling happier. Taking care of yourself helps to keep the mind and body primed for when we need to deal with situations that require resilience. Finally, use your support network. Reach out to friends and family and use their support when you need it. By connecting with others during tough times, it can help to reduce anxiety, reduce depression, help to regulate our emotions and improve self-esteem, therefore improving our health. What have you done this week to take care of yourself? Write it down in your workbook. My final tip is to develop a routine and daily rituals. It's important to develop daily rituals that will keep you inspired and moving forward toward your goals. These rituals can differ greatly from person to person, so do some experimenting and find out what works for you. You may find that a 15-minute jog in the morning helps to clear your mind and improves your outlook for the day ahead. You may choose to read a chapter of your book before bedtime to help you sleep better. Or it might be as simple as waking up 15 minutes earlier to eat a healthy breakfast before you go to school. Or even lighting a candle before bedtime to help you relax. Whatever daily ritual you choose, make sure that it encourages peacefulness and happiness. If you're happy and relaxed, you're more likely to be motivated. What daily rituals could you adopt to feel happier and help you in achieving your goals? To make it through the tough times, it requires resilience and motivation. It requires that we pay attention to ourselves, our needs and emotions, set goals, and do the things that make us happy. What's great is that nobody is born with either of these traits, and both can be developed over time with a little bit of focus and effort. So all of us can become more motivated and more resilient if we're willing to put steps in place to work towards this. What matters is that we try to do something each day, no matter how small, to bring us closer to our goals. So as a result of this session, I would like to know one thing that you're going to do differently to increase your motivation and build your resilience. Thank you so much for listening to me, and good luck everybody in achieving your goals. Remember, believe you can and you will. Take care. Bye for now.
everyone, and welcome to this presentation on goal setting. So what is a goal? Have a think about a word or a phrase that you associate with a goal. A goal is an aim or an intention or something that you want to achieve. We usually know when we've achieved a goal because there's a clear outcome. Goals are often met by setting a deadline and doing actions to complete that goal. You purposefully set yourself a goal because you want a certain outcome. So why do we set goals? Well, firstly, goals give us a sense of achievement. Think about a time when you felt a real buzz from achieving something. You might have got all the answers right in that test you were dreading, or you might have scored a goal in football and have everyone cheer for you. Or one day you might have been feeling really rubbish and you didn't want to get up, but you managed to get up and get out of bed and have a shower. No goal is too big or too small, and every goal that makes you feel happy and makes you feel like you've achieved something is good. Secondly, goals are a way of focusing your time and energy into something you really want to do. If you think of something you want in the future, then making a plan and setting a goal to achieve it is the only way it will happen. Going back to that first slide, if any of you read it, a goal without a plan is just a wish. If your goal is to win a football match, for example, you'll focus all your time and energy on improving your skills, working with your teammates and devising strategies. Doing these things will likely be more important to you than other things. So on a Saturday morning, if your other mates are all going out, you might say to them that you can't because you've got to go to football practice, because ultimately your goal is to win that football match and nothing's going to stop you from doing that. We also set goals in order to learn and grow. How many goals have you set that have helped you to learn something new? Did you learn a new tactic in football practice to give you a better chance of winning? Have you learned how to use an editing app or software to improve your social media, for example? Every time you decide to learn something, no matter how big, no matter how small it is, it adds to your knowledge and adds to your skills and helps you grow. It'll help you in the future. That new tactic in football is learning how to work in a team. That helps you when you're working with your schoolmates, your college mates, your university mates, and your colleagues at work. Learning how to make your social media posts more eye-catching is a skill that can be transferred to a job later on. What companies do you know don't use social media? So there's a huge benefit to goal setting. You'll learn and you'll achieve personally, academically, and professionally. So how do we set goals? One really useful tool to use is the SMART acronym. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's go through each one of those in turn. Specific. Goals have to be specific. It's no use saying something like, I want to do well in my exams. What does that mean? For example, if you've got one subject that you find a little bit more difficult than the others, then doing well might mean just getting a passing grade. If you have one subject that you really excel at, you're really passionate about and you really love, then doing well might mean that you achieve the top grade in that subject. So it's not enough to say, I will do well in my exams. What you've got to do is be specific. Your specific goal needs to be something like, I want to achieve this grade in this subject. Take archery, for example. Everyone wants to hit the bullseye in archery. That is the tiny little circle that's in the middle of your target. The reason why is because that shows you that you have perfect aim. It's also the highest scoring bit of the target board. So that is what you're always aiming for. So if you think about archery and you have that goal, you would say, my goal is to hit the bullseye. Let's move on to measurable. How do you know that you've achieved your goal? Well, because you measure it. If you hit your grade, for example, that is a way of measuring it. If you hit the bullseye on an archery target, that is how you know you've hit your goal. So how do you know you're progressing along the way? Well, in this archery board example, we've got all the circles on an archery board that have different points attributed to each one. The closer you get to that middle bullseye, the higher the points get. Achievable. Is your goal achievable? With some hard work and some practice, are you able to get to where you want to be? Are there any barriers preventing you from achieving it? And if so, can they be removed? For example, if you're going to fire a bow and arrow at a target, if there's something like a tree in the way of that target, then you won't be able to hit it. So what do? Well, either you can move yourself so that you can see the target better. That just means that you need to change your perspective, change the way you look at things, or you can move the target itself to somewhere more achievable. For example, if you want to get the top grade because you know it's the top grade and you know that other people can hit it, if you're currently on the bottom grade of that class, the chances are that in the small amount of time that you've got, you might not be able to hit that top grade. So what do? Well, firstly, you need to stop comparing yourself to other people. You need to not look about aiming to get the best out of everyone, but aiming to get the best out of yourself. If your goal is to pass a subject that you find really difficult, then that is a good goal to have. Relevant. What do we mean by relevant? Well, there's two types of relevancy in a goal. Firstly, do you want to achieve it? There's another type of relevancy that a goal has, and that is it going to help you achieve something bigger? Is it going to get you along the way towards a bigger goal that you have? It doesn't mean you have to particularly like it. An example of that is me doing GCSE maths. I hated maths when I was at school. I could not do it. I could not get my head around it. But when I was at school, you had to achieve a grade C to pass maths. And you had to pass maths if you were going on to do something like A-levels or a BTEC or anything like that. So I studied and I practiced and I did loads of exam papers and I hated the entire experience. However, I knew that I had to get that C if I was going to get anywhere else in my goal. So that goal, that little goal of getting a C, still had relevance. Lastly, we've got time bound. Goals need to have a clear date or deadline, otherwise you won't achieve them. In archery, this could be something like you've got a competition coming up at the end of the year and you need to be able to hit a bullseye before that competition. That gives you a year to practice your skills, really aim for that bullseye and to get it before you get to that competition. With something like grades, you know that you've got certain exams coming up or you've got deadlines of coursework, and that time between now and when you do those things, that's your time that you're allowing yourself to do that goal. So now that we know how to set a goal, how do we go about achieving it? I like to use a technique called layered goals. This is something that is a great technique that helps you to achieve a goal that you feel might be completely far away or out of your comfort zone. So think of a pyramid. The top layer of a pyramid is where you're trying to get to. This is the top point, your big, crazy goal that you really want to achieve. The next layer of your pyramid is your action plan. This is your short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals that are going to help you get towards your big, crazy goal. At the bottom of your pyramid, you've got your tiny habits. These are the little things that you do every single day to help you achieve your action plan goals. So, with an example, let's go through a pyramid and I will show you how to build one. Let's look into the future and say that you really want to work with animals. That is your big, crazy goal. You want to work with animals. So this isn't specific enough at the moment. We could do that SMART acronym for it, but we're not going to right now because we needed to get it more specific. So let's look at the next layer of your pyramid, and that is your action plan goals. These are things that you're going to do in the short term, medium term, and long term to help you get towards that big, crazy goal. So you can use the SMART acronym in every one of these actions. The way you measure whether you've achieved these action goals or not is to simply write them down. You could write a big list of action plans under these particular headings and tick them off every time you achieve one of them. That is your measurable out the way. So let's look at your short-term action plan. So you might give yourself a short-term goal of something like finding out what jobs you can do working with animals. A great resource to do that is using the Prospects website to research different kind of jobs that you can do in different sectors. And you can see that I have searched for jobs working with animals. What you need to do then is write it down, and that means you can tick off that you've done it. It's achievable as long as you have the internet and you give yourself a little bit of time, maybe an hour, just to search jobs. It's fully achievable to do this action goal. It's relevant because it will help you to narrow down that big, crazy goal that you've got and figure out what it is you want to do in the future. It is time bound because you will give yourself a deadline to do this. So let's say you're only doing it for an hour, you could do that within the next week. Give yourself a week's deadline to do this and research those jobs. And then when you've done it, you can tick off that action point on your jobs list. From this goal, you might have figured out that you want to do a specific job. For the sake of this example, I'm going to choose veterinary nursing. What do I need to do in the medium term to achieve that big crazy goal of being a veterinary nurse? Well, firstly, I need to figure out what qualifications I need. I know from researching the jobs that I need to have a degree in veterinary nursing or something similar. What I'll do next is I'll use the UCAS website, that's the UCAS website, to research different degrees. This is a great website. It's how you actually apply to university, and it also tells you all of the universities in the UK and exactly what courses they do. It tells you what you need to get into those courses, and that could be things like UCAS points, which you gain from basically any study that you do before university, or it could be grades like you would get at A-levels. So it would be a particular amount of A-levels that you need and anything like that. I know from searching on the UCAS website that to get into vet nursing for a specific university, I'll need a grade 4 at GCSE Maths, Science and English. I then need an A-level in biology. So I'll write down what I found. I'll also tick it off my action points list, and that was completely achievable. Again, all I needed was to set a little bit of time aside, maybe an hour again, and I needed the internet. It's relevant because it means that I can plan how I'm going to get towards this big, crazy goal. And it's time bound. So the deadline for achieving these particular grades is either achieving my GCSEs or achieving my A-levels. And the time between now and then I have to work towards that goal. So let's look now at your long-term goal. The best way of giving yourself a long-term goal is to see what extra you need to achieve that big crazy goal. I know that when you go for a job, one of the greatest things that you can have is skills and experience. So, how do I gain skills and experience to be a veterinary nurse? Well, basically, figure out what experience you can get working with animals. That could be something like a voluntary role in dog walking, working for a sanctuary or a rescue centre, or even a boarding home for pets. Even having a pet yourself is experience of working with animals. It's achievable because there are plenty of volunteering experiences out there, and you will definitely have some time to dedicate towards that. You can also look on the Prospects website that we talked about in the short-term goals because they have some great ideas to do work experience to get into those particular roles. It's time bound because your deadline is essentially either when you apply to university or when you apply to a job. Between now and then is when you need to get your experience. So lastly, on the bottom layer of our pyramid, you have your tiny habits. These are the things that you do every day that will help you to achieve your action plan goals. These can also be little mini goals, and you can also use the SMART acronym to make sure that you're doing these all the time. Or you could just simply write a list, whatever works for you. So a list of things to get towards that big crazy goal of being a vet nurse is: tiny habits are all those little everyday activities that help you get to where you want to be. So let's look back at that example of needing to get the grades that you would like to get. So one thing that you could do to help yourself get towards those grades is get up at the same time each morning, ready for school. Take a short walk or exercise in your home before school. This is a really important one, and it's great because it helps you get your mind completely where it needs to be. You'll feel such a difference in your energy levels and your concentration levels if you do a little bit of exercise every morning. Eat a good breakfast. If you eat a good breakfast every day, again, food feeds the mind. Food is energy, so it will help you to concentrate in school and get those good grades. Set a small amount of time aside each day for your more challenging subjects. Now, this may seem like something you really don't want to do, but if you spend a little bit of time every day, and I'm not talking like spending an hour or anything like that, just a little bit of time, either at lunchtime or before school or after school, whenever works with your routine. And if you try and do a little bit of those really challenging subjects, you'll find that over time, things will get easier. Last, don't look at your phone for a minimum of 15 minutes before bed to get better sleep. So better sleep is obviously going to help your mood, it's going to help your concentration, it's going to really help you in school. And what your phone does is it emits blue light. Any kind of device does that, so phones do that, laptops, TVs, anything like that. They emit blue light, which makes it harder for your brain to go to sleep because your brain automatically thinks it's daylight and it's waking up time. So try at least 15 minutes where you have no screen time whatsoever before you go to bed, and I guarantee you, you will see a difference in your sleep. So lastly, go to bed at the same time every night. This is really important for building a routine, and if you can, try and make that before midnight. I actually go to bed at about 11 o'clock now, and that works for me. I go to bed at 11 and I wake up at 7:30 every morning. That may not work for you. You might need more hours of sleep or you might need less. But whatever works for you, try and get into that routine. It'll help your body know that it's time to go to bed. We all find it really difficult to get the motivation to do these tiny habits, but once they are a habit, as in you will do them often and you won't even know that you're doing them, that is when they become really, really useful. So in order to get that motivation to begin starting these tiny habits, think of the 10-minute rule. If you get up each morning and you go for a walk, tell yourself that you only need to walk for 10 minutes. So at 8 o'clock, go out your house, start walking, and I guarantee you that it'll probably be longer than 10 minutes that you'll do it. The same thing applies to if you're doing homework. So tell yourself, okay, I'm only going to do 10 minutes worth of homework. And when you finally finish what you're working on and you look at that clock, you'll realise that you've been going well beyond 10 minutes. It's a really simple technique, but it does motivate you and it does help. So what have we learned today? We've learned about using the SMART acronym to set goals, and we've learned about layered goals. We've learned how tiny everyday habits can underpin a huge, great big goal. They can help you towards your action plan goals, your short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals that will all get you towards that big, crazy goal at the top of your pyramid. Anything that seems really far away just needs to be broken down into smaller steps. No matter how far away that goal might seem, what you do now affects your future. So guys, get planning. Thanks for listening, guys. If you do have any questions about university or college, you can head over to our website. That's higherhorizons.co.uk/ask. Our advisors are there all the time and are happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks very much, everyone, and enjoy your day. Here at Higher Horizons, we really hope you enjoyed this 5-week wellbeing programme. Thank you for sticking with it and chatting to us throughout. We need another evaluation form from you if you are in years 9, 10 and 11. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll find a link to the post-evaluation form. Please fill this out. Again, it really helps us to work with you more, so we hugely appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you to the Higher Horizons team for hosting this extremely important broadcast surrounding these very important self-care topics. And thank you to Jenna and Chloe for sharing with us those incredible pieces of information surrounding increasing your motivation, building resilience, and setting realistic goals. If you have any questions for any of our speakers today, please leave them in the live chat, which is next to the video player. Once that has been sent, the teams will answer your question as soon as possible. If you also missed any of our speakers or would like to look back on any of our content, please look below the video player where there is the on-demand section. They're available to you, your family and friends 24/7, so please look to your leisure. That's all from Higher Horizons today. I hope you're enjoying National Apprenticeship Week so far. However, join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. as we will be joined by Balfour Beatty to explore the Nottinghamshire Live broadcast. You won't want to miss it. But for now, stay safe and stay connected.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned. Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.